Thank you for working with me on this and calling for the release of my constituent Avon Hernandez, who has been unjustly, arbitrarily, and wrongfully detained in Venezuela for over 15 months. I'd like to take a moment to share Avon's story with all of you. He's one of our own. I come from the city of Angels, and Avon is one of our angels. He is a Los Angeles County public defender. He's a UCLA alum. He is a deeply beloved member of the community. As a toddler, he fled with his family from the Civil War in El Salvador and grew up to become a lawyer, devoting his entire career to fighting for the most vulnerable in our city. Avon is known by his family, his friends, his colleagues, and mentees as a man of impeccable character with an incredibly generous heart. In fact, when I met with his family and friends, everyone said he was their best friend, and they recounted all of the ways that he'd stepped in to help them. He is constantly giving back to his community, tutoring and mentoring other Latino law students, and helping create a support system for those who often go without it. But his life changed when he went on vacation to Colombia in March of 22. He found himself at the Colombian-Venezuelan border, where he was stopped by armed men. Once they discovered he was an American citizen, they captured him, they kidnapped him, and delivered him to the Venezuelan regime to be detained and used as a political pawn. Avon has been imprisoned for 15 months. It took the State Department a heartbreaking 7 months to designate him as wrongfully detained. Avon has spent his entire life fighting for others, and in fact, even while he has been detained in prison in Venezuela, he has been advocating for the rights of other detainees. And when they meet with the special envoy, they say, "Can Avon come in with me? Because he knows my case, he knows what's going on, and I want him here with me." He's probably now wondering whether anyone is fighting for him. And this resolution would say that, yes, we are fighting for you, Avon. The Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs has been working tirelessly to secure Avon's release, but the momentum has stalled. Congressional attention is needed now more than ever, and this resolution demonstrates that Congress wants Avon home in Los Angeles. Los Angeles wants Avon home, and his father Pedro wants him home. His father Pedro said, "He's my son, but he's also a son of this country." And we are hoping that the administration will use every tool in their toolkit to secure his immediate release, because Avon is worth it. Everyone's child is worth it. So I urge my colleagues to support this resolution, which is bipartisan, and join me in working to bring Avon home. Thank you, and I yield back.
Generally yields back. Any further discussion on the resolution? Ms. Young Kim is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word.
Generally is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I strongly support House Resolution 578, which I was proud to introduce with Representative Ken Labor-Duff. I want to thank you for your leadership on this issue. This resolution will send a strong, unified message from Congress for our support for Avon and his family as we call on Biden administration to act. And I also want to thank Chairman McCall for joining me and meeting with Avon's father Pedro just last week. I also had the opportunity to meet with Avon's brother and the whole family back home last week as well. You know, it's a heartbreaking story. Avon is a beloved son, brother, uncle, friend, attorney, a Los Angeles native, and he attended UCLA. Even though he went to my, rivalry school, I went to USC, but we are working on this together to bring him home. He has worked in Los Angeles County Public Defender's Office since 2006. Very long time doing his work, representing our community and the Los Angeles community. Avon Hernandez was on a 2-week vacation to Colombia when he was kidnapped while asking for directions close to the Venezuelan border. He was taken against his will. He was asked to pay a bribe to cross into Venezuela, and when he refused, he was then accused of being a spy. He's being held on fabricated criminal association and conspiracy charges. Evan has been wrongfully detained by the Venezuelan regime for over a year now. It's past time to bring Evan home. I was proud to recently join Representative Ken Lager-Dove to introduce a resolution calling for Evan's immediate release. This resolution, again, will send a strong message from Congress for our support for Evan and his family, as well as we call on Biden administration to act more swiftly. Even though there is some people paying attention to it, we think it's not enough. So I'll continue to do my part to bring Evan home. And like I said, we keep working with his family to bring him home and on this resolution. And I call my colleagues to also support this effort. And I urge President Biden to give this case the attention that it deserves. And I want to thank Chairman again for considering this legislation in today's markup. Thank you for your leadership again, my colleague and friend, Ken Lager-Dove. And I urge everyone to vote yes. And I yield the balance of my time.
Joan Lee yields. Any further discussion on the resolution? Ranking members recognized.
Thank you. I stand in strong support of Representative Cam Lager-Dove's 8-Dres 578 resolution, which calls for the immediate release of Ivan Hernandez, a U.S. citizen and Korea public defender. For 15 months, Mr. Hernandez has been wrongfully detained by the government of Venezuela without due process or any assurances of when he might be released. Without a doubt, this congressional body stands divided on many issues, but assuring the safety of American citizens abroad is one where we cannot afford for our opinions to diverge. The bipartisan support of this resolution speaks to our collective responsibility and our commitment to elevating the priority of Mr. Hernandez's safe return. It is essential that we endeavor to secure the safe return of Mr. Hernandez along with all other victims of wrongful detention overseas. Mr. Hernandez has dedicated his career to defending those who do not have the means to defend themselves. It is not lost on me the irony that since March of 2022, Mr. Hernandez has gone from managing caseloads as a public defender to being unlawfully detained, and as we heard from Representative Cam Lager-Dove, representing and defending others who are incarcerated with him in Venezuela. Even under these circumstances, he is doing the Lord's work and helping. It just tells you who he is. And you know, I've been following Mr. Hernandez's case since last April. And last week, I had the privilege of speaking with Mr. Hernandez's father. We walked and we had talked for a while in my office and in the hall. And I learned from his family about his contributions that he makes to the community. I learned how he has dedicated his life and a career to public service and practicing law for the public good. So we must honor Mr. Hernandez's passion for justice and preserving the rights granted to him and his fellow Americans by using that same passion to encourage this administration to use every tool at their disposal for his swift return. This is a matter that demands urgency. And as we sit in this room today, Mr. Hernandez is actively being denied the rights that he ordinarily would be working to secure for others. So, to the Hernandez family and loved ones, know that we stand with you, we stand with him, we see you, we hear you, we thank you, and we will continue to advocate for and on Mr. Hernandez's behalf. So I encourage all of my colleagues to stand with me in supporting this resolution, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Any further discussion on the resolution? Let me just thank Ms. Cam Lager-Dove for bringing this resolution forward. I had also had the opportunity to meet with Evan Hernandez's father, Pedro. Very powerful, moving experience, emotional. And honestly, Mr. Ranking Member, it just appears that these resolutions are happening way too often now.
Yeah.
It seems like this Congress, we've brought several of these now, whether it be Russia, China. I have a Texan on death row in China for a bogus drug charge. Iran, we have many American citizens in Iranian prisons.
Who's that?
North Korea, now we have another soldier now. Of course, in Afghanistan, we have many. And, it's important that Congress stand up in these situations to say to the family that we hear you, and that tell Avon that Congress cares about you, and we will do everything in our power to bring him home safely. And I've met with our hostage team at State Department. They're very, very good at what they do. And I look forward to working with them and you in bringing this to a conclusion and bring Avon home. And I think it doesn't go without notice sort of the irony of a public defender being incarcerated with other defendants unjustly accused. Taking up their cause says a lot about his moral character and the person that he truly is, that I know his father is so proud of. And so I fully support this. Thank you for bringing this, and we'll get it on to the floor as soon as possible. But sending a message again to the family and to Avon and to Maduro, who is responsible for this. We're not going to sit back idly and take this. We're going to go on the offensive in Congress. We'll do everything in its power to return its son home to Los Angeles. So with that, there being no further discussion on the resolution, the committee will move to consideration of amendments. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? There being no amendments, the question now occurs on the common law or Dev amendments in the nature of a substitute. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. I now move that committee report HRES 578 as amended.